Okay, 1, 2, 3, okay, 4, 5, 6. We have a couple of hands here. So we're going to learn more about what eco-anxiety is, and she's going to talk us through her journey of the amazing work that she's doing. So I hope that you'll have your ears peeled, and please ask questions as well after the talk is over. Let's join me in giving a warm welcome to Moksha, everyone!
Good morning, everyone. My name is Moksha, as you all know, and today I'm going to be talking to you about a very important topic, eco-anxiety. But first, I would like to thank the organisers, EarthFest, for inviting me to talk to you all today and to share my messages. I'm delighted to be here, and I hope that by the end of this talk, you'll all be able to walk away knowing exactly how to tackle eco-anxiety. So, why I'm here today and what I want to share. Well, I'm 9 years old and I'm in year 4. I live with my family out just in Hertfordshire, just outside London, and I am a sustainability advocate and broadcaster. So by sustainability advocate, I mean I work on my own and collaborate with and inspire others to take action to help solve the climate crisis and live more sustainably. I actually started quite early on this journey. I was just 3 when I asked one of the first important questions that started me off on this journey of sustainability. Why my parents couldn't buy me some glitter? Because I love playing with it like any other 3-year-old child would. But they explained to me that glitter is just a form of microplastic. Microplastic that goes into the sea, harming aquatic life and us humans, because it contaminates our food, water, and even the air we breathe. So that's when I decided, just at age 3, to volunteer for a United Nations, which is UN for short, microplastic pollution campaign, which is supported by the Archbishop of Canterbury and the UN Task Force. But I didn't stop my journey there. At 5 years old, I asked another critical question: why the children who I was growing up around didn't know about the global goals, which, in case you didn't know, is a set of goals created by the United Nations to help all of us live more sustainably and help to combat climate change. My parents told me this was because they weren't learning about this at school, so they had no clue about how to do these things. And that's when I decided to write to all of the prime ministers and presidents of the world, requesting them to include the global goals in their school's national curriculum. And guess what? Very soon, I received many letters and messages of appreciation from the prime ministers and presidents of the world, and many promised to act on my request. The UK government actually included my request in the Government Strategy for Climate Education and Sustainability, and I was later honoured with the Prime Minister's Points of Light Award for my service to the community and the country. Since then, I've been to climate change conferences, film festivals, business meets, and even media conferences, influencing governments, major businesses, creatives, and citizens as well. I've also started and participated in loads and loads of different campaigns, from water pollution to children's rights, right to my latest campaign, which is actually aiming to save nearly 400 million books from landfills every year. I'll talk more about this later in my talk. So I'm here today to share my tried and tested ways to overcome eco-anxiety, because many children of our age and older are experiencing eco-anxiety when they hear about the devastating impacts of climate change and a really worrying future for everyone. So, why we should care about climate change? Well, just so that we're clear, climate change isn't some sort of future peril that scientists have predicted will happen to us in the next 50 or so years. It's a horrible thing that's happening to all of us, or billions and billions of people around the world right now as I'm speaking to you today. And we may or may not have experienced the impacts of climate change ourselves firsthand. So I'm going to start with a big question. How many of you think that climate change is too big to fix or not worth fixing because it's already too late? Please, could I have a show of hands? Okay, so that's a few of us here. Well, the truth is, the scale of climate change is so large and much beyond what we children can understand most of the time. So it's completely understandable that we can feel really overwhelmed and confused about this. So as you can see on the slides, most of the world will be even more impacted by climate change than it's being impacted now. Meaning we'll have lack of food, water, healthcare, education, more floods, wildfires, wildlife extinction, a large surge of climate refugees. And everything will come with the rising temperatures. So it's really obvious that when we hear about or learn about these things, we can get really worried, stressed, and anxious of our future on this planet and the well-being of ourselves and our loved ones. So, eco-anxiety. What is it? Well, eco-anxiety is a mental health condition where we experience negative emotional responses like anxiety or grief caused by the threat of environmental or climate crisis. The effects of eco-anxiety worsen with a sense of helplessness and the feeling that we're unable to do anything to stop it. And is it normal? Well, yes. According to United Nations sources, almost 3/4 of all children and young people, that's millions around the world, are reported to be suffering from eco-anxiety. And the numbers are expected to go up as eco-anxiety spreads more and more. So here in this room, how many of you have ever suffered from eco-anxiety? Any signs of stress, worry, or depression? Please, could I see some hands? Okay, that's a few of us here. Well, I would like to ask you, if you're happy to share, what do you feel? Helpless, worried, terrified, hopeless even? If you're happy to share, can you raise your hands again? You?
I feel scared that I can't do anything to help.
Yeah, it's completely normal for people to feel scared and worried. We could also feel hopeless as well. And we can see climate change happening as we grow up and how it's impacting us and everyone around us every day, and will keep on doing so in the future. We're also just bombarded with headlines about wildfires, floods, species being extinct, which are really true, yet completely unsettling. But the fact is, all of this is not going to stop or go away right now. It's not like something we can just wish away. So this is the reality we're all going to have to accept. So we have to be ready and resilient to adapt and protect ourselves. But as young people, we actually react to eco-anxiety more differently to adults. We tend to tune out of climate issues entirely, ignore the news because it's too depressing, feel powerless and think individual actions won't matter, and assume that the governments and businesses should handle it instead. But this is not going to help us overcome eco-anxiety. But feeling anxious is okay and completely normal. It just shows that you care. But switching off our ears and turning off our minds whenever we hear about the climate crisis isn't going to help us. Living in denial will just make us mentally weak and more depressed, unable to protect ourselves and our loved ones when we need to. So that is the reality we need to accept as the very first step to overcome eco-anxiety. Now, tackling eco-anxiety the smart way. So how do we tackle our eco-anxiety positively? Well, the short answer is through our actions and our advocacy. Personally, I have never experienced eco-anxiety because I've always been acting in small or big ways to help stop climate change. And I've also been advocating from a really young age, as you all know. So I don't feel eco-anxiety, but I have helped other people around me to overcome eco-anxiety. So let's talk about actions first. Quite simply, through solution-led actions that can combat climate change, no matter how insignificant that might sound, we can actually overcome our eco-anxiety. The United Nations has already suggested 170 actions that we can adopt into our everyday lives to make a big difference to the world around us, even though it sounds really small. It's part of the global goals that's available on their website. You can check those out if you haven't already. But not everything on the list is relevant for children, and you might already be doing some of the things on there, which is great. But it's definitely worth having a look at. Now, these actions can be individual, like when only you or your family does it. But it can also be communal, where your whole school or neighborhood or county or even country does something together. I'll come to more details later on my talk. But the most important thing about actions to combat climate change is to set realistic expectations about what impact our actions will create in the short term. If we set unrealistic and fantasized expectations, then we'll just be disheartened and depressed when we find out that our actions haven't made as big as an impact as we hoped they would. So, this is the reality check I wanted you all to bear in mind to avoid eco-anxiety while you're acting on climate change. Now, for an action to be repeated millions and millions and millions of times across the globe, what we need is the second approach to overcoming eco-anxiety: advocacy. In simple words, advocacy is basically what I'm doing right now. It's sharing the ways you're helping to do to help the planet and live more sustainably with everyone you know. Parents, teachers, friends, relatives. But it doesn't have to be someone you know. It can be anyone and everyone. So you can also, this will make sure that they get inspired and do the same things as you're doing, and in turn inspire others, and they will inspire others, and so we start a domino effect. Your advocacy can also be via TV, radio, online, and even events. Everywhere. Advocacy is so important because we should understand that alone, or just with a handful of people, we can't make a huge difference. But if not millions, but billions and billions of people around the world decide to make a difference to the world around them, we could see huge, huge changes in the short term. Now, so individual actions. If you think you're too small to make a difference, then you haven't spent the night with a mosquito. I think we can all imagine what a mosquito could do in one night, and that's regardless of how big or small it is. No action is too small, and it's extremely important that we believe that we can also bring big changes from tiny, weeny, small first steps that we take all by ourselves. Yes, by ourselves. So, now to act on your own, first you should know your superhero powers. I mean, I know it sounds a bit babyish, but we're actually all superheroes in our small and big ways. So we should know the power that we have. Every choice that we make impacts every single person around you, even the whole world. It sounds really surreal and untrue, but I'm being honest. As children, we have one special superpower: to be curious and ask questions. Remember how asking questions was the beginning of my journey through sustainability. And it's really important that we learn more and more, and we can do that by being curious. We can ask questions about anything and everything. We can make choices about these things too. That starts with everything that we need and that we want. We could check if our food is fair trade and avoid E numbers in food with long list of ingredients, some that we really don't know what they even mean. We could also avoid chocolate and sweets wrapped in plastic, buy clothes made from sustainable materials like wool, cotton, and hemp. And you can do all of this by reading the labels and choosing right. As for our wants, we can think about things like pop concerts, toys, movies, and holidays. We can make sure the movie stars and pop stars we support and pay to watch perform are helping the planet and are investing in green things, as well as us thinking carefully about more sustainable or local holidays. Now, we can also think about where we put our money. That applies to us, our parents, and our grandparents. We should know if our money is fueling the destruction of the planet and our future, and act likewise. And of course, ask for change. Write to our leaders like I did, or even the PMs and MPs if you think you have a solution to offer and real change can happen when regulation changes. Every choice and action of each one of us is making a huge difference to the world around us, and it's important that we choose right, because with every choice we made, we are either harming the planet and us or helping it. Now, this is my favorite slide because it's completely true. Because one drop can start a ripple that can become the biggest change ever. Just like you have small actions that can lead to the biggest changes you can imagine ever happened. I also started with an individual action at age 3, but I didn't stop there and started and contributed to many campaigns. Some notable ones that have inspired thousands to act are birthdays for charities, which is where you give up your birthday gifts to raise funds for a charity you care about, and also stop unwanted gifts from going into landfills. It started with me giving up my birthday gifts on my 6th birthday for UNICEF UK to raise funds for children in need. So the impact is, the initiative raised thousands of pounds. My friends and family also gave up their birthday gifts. Now this initiative is on superkind.org, which is the world's only platform for children to raise money for charities that reaches 1,500 schools, enabling children to raise money for charities that they love. And secondly, Books for Our Future. It saves 400 million books from ending up in landfills to stop climate change and help charities raise funds. This is where you stick a special Books for Our Future sticker on all your old books and donate them to charity shops around you. And the stickers basically encourage people to keep on donating and buying and redonating that one book so that it has a longer life and the other impacts, as I mentioned earlier. So charities such as Barnardo's, Peace Hospice and Cancer Research UK are already benefiting from this campaign. And the best bit is that when you take part, you can earn free signed copies of books from famous authors. So please join the campaign and win prizes. I also advocate for rights respecting schools. So it's the UNICEF's Rights Respecting Schools program. Children's rights are super important, so we need to make sure that we protect them and we know about them. So I've asked my head teacher to join the program, and now my school is working towards being a rights respecting school. Ask your school to join if they haven't already. And of course, clean water for all is really important. As I am a UN Water Week ambassador and an ambassador for Frankwater, I believe clean water for all is extremely important. It's as important as breathing clean air. So I campaign to ensure we all have access to clean water forever. And from all these campaigns and things I've done, 2 things happened. So of course, I've never had eco-anxiety because I need to how to overcome it through actions, and now I help others overcome eco-anxiety through solution-led actions. It's really inspiring. I mean, who wouldn't be inspired if you are helping a cute 4-year-old to understand plastic pollution so they can make better choices about their toys, and then the next day helping the 16-year-olds to take action through social media? Well, collective action can be really fun and impactful. So we can all take collective climate action as well in very powerful ways, and even small ones can make a big difference. For example, I started a green team in year 2 with my friends. It's a collective action. So Green Team is a student-led initiative of sharing sustainable ideas and solutions to protect our planet and its people. It's spread across the junior school, and now children as young as 4 years old are joining. The older girls are too. Now our senior school has also got a Green Team, which has now won the prestigious Green Flag Award. In our Green Team meets, we ask really relevant and important questions, exchange ideas, and learn from each other about the important things we do to help the environment. So, I'm now spreading the concept of Green Team to other schools because it's really fun and powerful at the same time, since we can discuss what we can do more than these actions that we should be doing anyways. So I'm going to share with you some impactful ways we can work together to combat eco-anxiety. So start the school and community initiatives like a Green Team, and push for plastic-free school policies like banning single-use plastic in cafes, asking for plastic-free art materials, and plastic-free accessories like pencil cases and folders. We should also set up swap shops in our schools for Christmas jumper days and for World Book Day outfit swaps. Also, for advocacy and awareness, we can write letters or gather signatures to demand climate action from leaders like councils, MPs and PMs like I did. And of course, everyday sustainable choices, they're important. We could reduce waste by recycling, composting and upcycling, and choose eco-friendly brands. Ask our family and friends to do the same. At a global level though, we could join international youth climate groups such as YOLO to share ideas and support global petitions for better environmental policies. But though climate change is really overwhelming, we do have hope. As you can see, we've done really well, starting from renewables to stopping plastic pollution, reducing deforestation, to youth initiatives that have led to change of policies. But more can be done. Now, the worst bit about eco-anxiety isn't that horrible feeling of despair, even though that's really, really bad. It's actually the eco-anxiety trap. It's where we're trapped in a cycle of feeling overwhelmed, just leading to guilt and hopelessness instead of action. and none of us want that. And you can avoid this trap if you remember just 2 things. Climate action can be just as easy as brushing your teeth. So it can be just as easy and simple, because if it's something we should do every single day to keep ourselves safe, then we will do it because it's like brushing our teeth. It's not something we should do occasionally, it's something we do every single day. And of course, be selfish to be sustainable. I know it sounds really weird, but let me explain. If you care for yourself and people you care about and know exactly what you need to do to care for yourself and protect yourself by taking small actions, then you'll actually be amazed to find out that you're not just helping yourself and the people you care about, but loads and loads and loads of people around you. And you'll be amazed about how every action of yours just to take care of yourself can create a ripple effect and positively impact millions and millions more. So these are my final thoughts. Eco-anxiety can be really hard, but we can manage it the smart way. And of course, climate action can be just as simple as brushing your teeth. We should do it every day to protect ourselves and the people we care about. And finally, join the journey, don't run away. Please don't ignore the climate crisis. Join the journey and help people walk towards a more sustainable world where climate change isn't a thing. I have a little challenge for everyone. So find one way to make an impact this week and share it with all of your friends. That will start your own little ripple of change. So I'm inviting you all to take action with me and join forces with me. You can contact me on moksharoy.com and also watch all my campaigns on my YouTube channel. Together we can do more. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Moksha. Everyone, please join me in giving a round of applause for Moksha Roy. Thank you. I apologize for the loud siren. That was just a timer, nothing to be scared about, but I think it all woke us up a little bit, so hopefully that was helpful in some way. Thank you so much, everyone, for giving us your time, your attention, and for listening so carefully. Climate change is all around us, and I think it's important for us to start thinking about these things from a young age, not to stress too much about it, but to try and see, as Moksha said, how we can take positive actions and do more steps within ourselves and with our friends in order to try and tackle the big looming climate crisis together. I think what's important is to work with each other, not to disagree on things, but to try and find ways that we can work with each other in order to make positive action together. Would you agree, Moksha? Yeah, if anyone has any questions, would you like to quickly... Amazing, we have a question over there. I'm going to hold on to you.
So, how are you so brave to stand up and talk about Earth Day first and that?
I've been doing this from quite a young age. So I started public speaking. I made my first video at 3 years old. And I started doing most of my public speaking at like 7 years old. So I've been doing this for quite a while. It's been a delight to be here, so yeah.
Thank you. I think we have one more question.
How was it that you got this idea at 3 years old?
As I mentioned in my talk, I really needed some glitter at home because I wanted to finish a project. So when I asked my parents to buy me some, like any child would, they refused telling me that it was actually microplastics, and that just sparked something in me, which made me think that I didn't want the mermaids I believed in to die from plastic pollution at that time. But that's what sparked all of this, and I decided not to stop there.
Thank you so much, Moksha. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Another round of